And welcome to the Factor Uncensored. You've seen the big debate. Now the question is what needs to be done for Biden and Trump to win this election. A New Times Siena poll places former President Trump at 46% of the vote, while President Biden has 45% of the poll, essentially neck and neck as of June 27th, with a convicted former president and an aging commander-in-chief. What will set these campaigns on the right trajectory? Joining us here to talk on the Factor Uncensored about this, we have Dr. David Branham from UHD, State Representative Jolanda Jones, State Representative Ron Reynolds, conservative attorney Kevin Fulton, and political analyst Dr. Dietrich von Bietenfeld. So guys, your thoughts. What will it take to differentiate and put one candidate in front of the other here?
Well, I would say that this election's about Donald Trump. Joe Biden, everybody knows who Joe Biden is. He's not a volatile candidate. He's been president for 4 years. I think everybody's focusing on Trump and what's going to happen with him. So he's the one that excites his base. He's the one that infuriates his opponents. So I think what he does will have a lot more to do with who wins this election than Joe Biden.
I think the same thing with the draft. I mean, the same people that Biden's counting on to vote are the same people who are going to say, it's raining outside and I've got video games to play at home. So
I'm busy.
Right. The challenge is, I agree with Dr. Branham, the challenge is going to be Joe Biden being able to invigorate his base as much as the MAGA Republicans have come and rallied around Trump with what they believe is political theater and what they believe is unjust treatment of a former commander-in-chief.
I'll piggyback on that. One of the things that Biden has to do with a key demographic is black men. Black men has been one of the fastest to leave him in terms of percentage-wise what he had before. He needs to recapture those African-American voters, young voters, Muslim voters who have been disenchanted because of his not moving for a ceasefire in the Gaza conflict. So those are the demographics that he's going to have to capture.
Yeah, well, I think listening to the demographic that you're talking about, it tells me, because at this point, both candidates, their base should be secure. You're only a few months out. At this point, you should be working on undecideds and your independents. If he's still working on the black male vote, he's got a problem. So for Trump, no unforced errors. All he has to do is not do anything absolutely crazy, and he should be able to ride this forward.
And still, it won't matter, Kevin, if he does something, because his people are diehard. They support him no matter what.
True, but it's independents that are the big question mark. And right now, Biden's independent numbers are where the last 3 presidents have lost. Their numbers were the same when it comes to independents. So Trump has to portray a different image to get that group.
Yeah, but I also think that Biden is going to have to pay attention to the black votes. And when you talk about unforced errors, Trump is making a whole bunch of unforced errors. When he going to calling in barbershops, I mean, what is a caricature with if you want to get to black people, go to barbershops? You know, people got good jobs now. Barbers come to them. So he's playing on these caricatures, so that's not helping Trump. So even the black people that aren't, that are disenfranchised with Biden, they ain't going to Trump.
That's right.
I mean, they ain't going, I'm going to say it again, they ain't.
A lot of them staying home.
Well, and so that's what Biden's got. That's what Biden's got to do. Biden can't afford for us to stay home.
That's right.
And so Biden has got to get black surrogates, local politicians who know what's going on in our communities, and we know what our constituents want, and get us to go talk with them. So the national thing, because at least for black folks, the issue is way bigger than abortion.
Oh,
right?
absolutely.
If all you're talking about is abortion, then you're about to lose us. So 100%. That's what Biden has to do. So I think that if Biden does what Biden can do, I think that Biden can and will win. But I want for Trump to keep doing is making us caricatures, because people like myself and people like Chairman Reynolds, we looking at him saying, you think we buffoons. No, the person that's a buffoon is you.
I mean, those kitchen table issues, the inflation, that's something that Biden is going to have to, because record unemployment is for blacks right now. We like 3.8% unemployment. The numbers came out, they're phenomenal, but black unemployment is as low as it's been in centuries. So those are good things, but inflation, people are still feeling the pinch when they go buy groceries, so Biden has to address those things. He has to address voting rights, criminal justice reforms. There's things that he could do to reinvigorate the African-American vote.
We know voters have short-term memories, and the recency, of course, the challenge for an incumbent is we have the record to go, and one of the challenges for President Biden is a lot of his areas are incongruous with Democratic values. That is, you've got conflicts going on in Ukraine, Gaza, right? The Democrats are supposed to be this peace-loving party. You've got economic stagnation in minority communities. Aren't you supposed to be the party that's looking out for us? So there's a lot of conflict, and then the amnesia that comes in 4 years later, because some of those things where people are still riding high on stimulus checks, now the subsequent president has to pay those bills. So that economic downturn that comes from having to pay the piper now is something that is put on Biden regardless of his influence on those debts.
He had big influence on that. He had options on how to spend money when he became president. He hasn't spent it in a way that uplifted black communities. Instead, we see resources going to people who are crossing the border illegally and not towards the black communities where it should have been in the first place. Blacks will remember that. Now, whether or not they run out to Trump, we don't know, but they will stay home. So at the end of the day, all those social issues we fight about, all of us that love to be in politics, that's not what people care about. I want to know, when I go home, do I turn on the switch and the lights come on, and can I feed my family? And that's what people are struggling with right now.
But I'll say this, when it comes to like black voters and white voters, white people struggling too? Why y'all acting like the only people that are struggling are black people? Again, I'm infuriated with these caricatures that they make of black people. We've got professionals, we've got lawyers, we've got doctors, we've got professionals sitting right here. And so it's frustrating to me. But again, I'm gonna say this, being at the border is important, right? That issue is important. But when Trump was president and they had a Republican Senate and they had a Republican Congress, he ain't do nothing for black people, and he didn't have nobody to stop him, right? So Democrats, Biden, have to remind constituents that, hey, when they had all three branches of government, they want to do this. Trump saying, I'm gonna do this for black people, the best way to tell what somebody gonna do in the future is what they did in the past. And in the past, all he wanna do is shoot black people with the police, give them blanket immunity, and do all these things that absolutely...
All right, Jolanda, we're gonna take a break here, and we'll let you, Kevin, you're chomping at the bit, pick it up when we come back after this break with our guests. We're talking politics tonight here on The Factor. Stay with us. And welcome back to The Factor Uncensored. The latest Time Siena poll shows President Biden in damn near tie with former President Trump when it comes to the presidential race. What needs to be done to break that tie? Our guests are back here on The Factor Uncensored. Attorney Kevin Fulton, we begin with you.
Yeah, I really wanted to talk about, people talk about the hate about Donald Trump, but look at the programs that helped our community. One, he's the one who signed criminal reform when Obama wouldn't sign it. He's the one that fully funded historical black colleges at a level that no one had funded it before. So let's not, enterprise zones where people from low-income areas can get jobs and get tax credit for businesses. These are all programs. Ignore the tweets. Remember the programs is what I would ask you to do.
Well, I would say that with these polls being so close, first we got to remember California's in there, and that takes up so many votes. And Biden's going to win California by a mile. So Biden's got to make up in areas other than California to get back. He's going to have to win by 2 or 3 points, and those swing states are important. So we keep looking for Donald Trump mistakes. He's going to make mistakes. He always has. But the issue will be, will he make a mistake in a swing state? For instance, saying that Milwaukee is an awful town. Maybe that could be the type of mistake that he can make that would cost him Wisconsin, which in my opinion is the swing state. So that's where the election will be focused, on those swing states: Michigan, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Arizona, Georgia. Those states are important, and Biden is going to have to figure out a way to win those states, and the easiest way for him to do it would be to be able to attack Trump effectively. It's not going to be easy to do that, but that's what he's going to have to do.
And for those who are wondering, when we think about President Biden, is ageism still a question here, his age? Is that still a problem?
Trump is old too. I mean, I'm trying to figure. I mean, they both old white men. Yeah. So it's just really interesting to me how they've decided to say that Trump.
Well, I think, and let's be honest, we know President Biden is moving a little slower. He may be having, you know,
and Trump has moments too.
He does.
Except for people give Trump a pass because he a fool, I guess.
But part of the scandal is the vice president.
Trump.
I mean, except
Donald Trump has a lot more energy.
A lot more energy. I saw him dancing the other day when he was.
I thought I was imagining things.
I would say Biden looks 90. Biden looks 90. Trump looks 9.
There's no question that
I'm sorry, you said what?
Is a factor.
Biden looks 90. Trump looks 9.
But I'd rather have
a lot of times.
I'd rather have an older agent Biden than a convicted felon Trump. Okay, think about it. An older person that has a pretty clean record, you could debate that. But someone who's been convicted of 34 felony counts and has a ton more, right where he is in Atlanta, he's waiting more felony counts that's only been delayed.
And
Well, let's not forget
we
that
are not going to have a felon, baby daddy, serial cheater, rapist, and chief. It just ain't going to happen.
Absolutely.
Wait, you're talking about Biden, the same person who's the
No, I'm talking about Trump.
Hold on. The only reason Biden was not prosecuted by the special prosecutor is because he said this old man basically is incompetent to stand trial. This is the man we have. He's got the codes.
Except for he had no 34 in multiple states.
They're going to go on and on and on. We want to thank them for joining us here on The Factor Uncensored on this debate night.